Hello and welcome to Channel 24 ESCI News. My name is Maggie, and today myself and my colleagues have a special news report for you. In today's news segment, we'll be discussing the important question, how green is renewable energy? First, I'll be handing this broadcast off to myself to discuss the general definition of green energy and renewable energy. Take it away, myself. Thanks, Maggie. According to TWI Global, green energy is an energy type that is generated from natural resources, such as sunlight, water, and wind. One of the key distinguishing factors of energy being considered green is that green energy releases minor to no greenhouse gas emissions into the atmosphere. On the other hand, renewable energy is defined as being a replenishing source of energy, or the energy source never runs out. Examples of renewable energy include hydroelectric power, geothermal power, and biomass energy. The difference between the two, green and renewable, heavily relies on the environmental impact of the renewable energy source, which is what Gabby will be talking about in the next segment, where she talks about the overlap between green and renewable energy. Take it away, Gabby.
Thank you, Maggie. Now, what is the difference between the two? Is one better? Is one worse? Is there an overlap? I'm here to tell you the facts. While renewable energy sounds perfect, many people tend to believe that it is. Since it's an energy source that doesn't deplete when it's used, it's the best option, right? Wrong. Look at hydroelectricity, for example. This type of renewable energy has an awful effect on the environment and wildlife, whereas green energy has a smaller impact on the environment, if any at all. By not releasing many harmful greenhouse gases into the atmosphere, it is a much safer option for our planet. Both have downsides. There are forms of green energy that can be quite pricey, and renewable energy can release bad chemicals and contribute to bigger problems such as global warming more times than not. More on that with Marissa as she takes you through some forms of dirty renewable energy. On to you, Marissa.
Thank you, Gabby. Now, hydroelectricity is considered a green energy, but how green is it really? Large amounts of methane, a potent greenhouse gas, are being released in the flood areas surrounding the dams used to generate the hydroelectricity. The dams themselves also disrupt natural migration and increase mortality of aquatic life, which can have significant impacts on the surrounding ecosystems. Solar and wind energy also seem to be green, but much of the material needed to build wind turbines and solar panels come from developing countries that rely on child labor or very low wages to be mined. Solar panels often contain toxic metals, which can leach into the ground if they end up in a landfill if they're not properly recycled. If the solar panels are recycled, companies will oftentimes send them to developing countries where the elements within the solar panels can be extracted through means that are both unethical and release greenhouse gas. But they're not all bad. Next up, Braden will mention some green renewables.
Just like Marissa previously stated, with every green renewable energy source, there's going to be at least one major flaw that deems it as dirty. The best thing for us to do is to find the most effective source of energy that will cause the least amount of damage to our planet. This source turns out to be wind. According to canwe.ca, more wind energy has been built in Canada between 2009 and 2019 than any other form of electricity generation, due to it creating the least amount of pollution. Wind energy alone is generating enough power to light the homes of over 3 million Canadians. Not only is it a clean fuel source, but it also creates thousands of jobs around the country, boosting our economy. Although it might not be the cheapest option, it is the greenest, and that's what's most important. Now on to live with the question, could we survive by only using green renewables?
Thank you, Braden. So, could we survive by only using green renewables? Majority of our electric energy is sourced from fossil fuels, which are in no way eco-friendly and they cause a lot of damage to the environment. They are also very costly. So how can we improve our ways? By switching to an environmentally friendly method using green renewables. A common question asked, however, is could we survive by only using green renewables? The answer is yes. According to a report by the LUT University and Energy Watch Group, a 5-year-long study showed results that estimate a global transition to 100% renewable energy by the year 2050. This is meaning across all sectors, including heat, transport, water, and power. The study demonstrated that a sustainable energy system would be more effective than the energy system we use now. The only thing that is holding us back from having a sustainable energy system that meets our demands is the political will. Now I'm going to pass it on to Gabby, who will be talking about our final thoughts on how green is renewable energy.
Thank you, Liv. As you have heard here, renewable energy shows promise at first glance and presents many positives. As stated by the United States Environmental Protection Agency, renewable energy suggests a smaller carbon footprint and reduces our dependence on imported fossil fuels. While these facts are true, it unfortunately is misleading as it is not a simple process to achieve these outcomes. As discussed earlier, many sources of renewable energy rely on the use of dirty resources such as cement, iron, copper, and aluminum to operate, all of which can only be obtained through processes such as mining, creating excess waste that is both damaging to our planet and difficult to dispose of. This means that overall, while it is true that renewable energy has the potential to be more eco-friendly or green than our typical non-renewable energy sources, sustainability is still a major issue. However, our team here believes that despite these difficulties, there still is potential. There are actions that can be taken to better develop renewable energy sources to make them greener, such as finding alternative waste storage methods, reusing waste when possible, and recycling the waste. These developments would take both time and money, but would secure long-term energy as non-renewable sources reach their peak.
And that's all we have time for tonight, folks. Thank you for tuning in to Channel 24 ESCI News, and we will see you next time, where we will be discussing the emissions of CO2 from volcanoes versus humans.